All right, welcome to a very rare early morning video. I think my sound's a bit too high. I'll turn it down. There we go. Special thanks to new subscriber, commenter, um, XYZ. Um, I'm gonna keep working on my Python for DevOps uh, playlist. So it's been a long time since the last video. My priorities have been the JNCI ESP retake, but it's been kind of a nightmare. Like I purchased the official materials and I've had to work with customer support and like it's just been kind of a drain on me. Um, so I want to do things that are more enjoyable. I was thinking about starting a new series on like building games with Python, but this has been interesting enough, and it sounds like there's a demand for it now. So I'm just going to continue here. I don't really remember where I left off last, so I think I'm going to start just by reading this first page. I've only got about 15 minutes, so I've got to kind of make the best use of my time. There is an important difference between this Docker file and the version used in the first Hello World Docker example. Here the contents of the current directory, which includes the application files, are copied into the Docker image. This is done to illustrate a scenario different from the development workflow shown earlier. In this case, we are more interested in running the application in the most portable way, for example, in a staging or production environment, where we do not want to modify application files via mounted volumes, as was done in the development scenario. It is possible and even common to use Docker Compose with locally mounted volumes for development purposes, but the focus in this section is on the portability of Docker containers across environments, such as development, staging, and production. Okay, so I do remember I had a lab in my home lab. I had a lab for this, so I'm going to pull that up. I'm not sure how that is currently, but and oh, here we go. So yeah, I've got a lab here named. It's been so long ago I can't even remember what lab I was using, but I've got one named Python for DevOps. So I'm gonna open that. Okay, it looks like it's pretty simple. Um, we've just got one device, so let's boot it up. Okay, and then let's see if we can uh, find this Flask by example uh, Docker image on here, or see if Docker's even running on here. Okay, and in the meantime, while that's booting up, let's make the most of our time and keep reading ahead. So run docker build -t flask by example :v1 space dot to build a local image, a local Docker image. The output of this command is not shown because it is quite lengthy. In the next step in the Flask by example tutorial is to run the Flask migrations. In the Docker compose.yaml file, define a new service called migrations and specify its image, its command, its environment variables, and the fact that it depends on the DB service being up and running. Okay, so I don't read these out loud. They're the output. So this cat command concatenate. It shows what's in this file. This file is a YAML file, so you can see the contents there. I don't go and read that word for word, character for character, just because um, you know, image colon space. It's its own. It's not. I don't consider it text. I just consider it like an example, like a picture or something like that. And you can't really read a picture, so I do my best to kind of describe it, look it over. Like, it's a YAML file. We've got services migration. We got the image here. So I don't just ignore it typically. Sometimes I do. But for now, let's continue reading. The database underscore URL variable. Go back and look at that. Here it is. Uses the name DB for the PostgreSQL SQL database host. This is because the name DB is defined as a service name in the docker-compose.yaml file, and docker-compose knows how to link one service to another by creating an overlay network where all services defined in the docker-compose.yaml file can interact with each other by their names. See the docker-compose networking reference for more details. The database underscore URL variable definition refers to another variable called dbpass instead of hard coding the password for the word count underscore um, db admin user. So I think this is, yeah, so we can see here it is dbpass. So if we go back, look at the database URL, we've got a URL, and URLs here we've got an HTTPS, that stands for hyper text tagging protocol, I think, and then the S is for secure. Um, but whatever that stands for specifically, it's escaping me right off the top of my head right now. You can have different things that you access through your URL. So you can access hypertext by HTTP or HTTPS. You can also access file transfer protocol through a URL. You can access all sorts of things. So it's a universal resource locator. So in this case, the resource we're looking for is this post GRESQL database, but we're going to need to authenticate to the database. So we do that here to make sure that this file doesn't contain our secret passwords and we don't expose it to the world. We use an environment variable, and then just on our own local Linux environment, we have that variable defined. So anyone who can't access that does not have the password. The docker compose.yaml file is usually checked into source control. The best practices are not to commit secrets such as database credentials to GitHub. Instead, use an encryption tool such as SOPs to manage a secrets file. Here is an example of how to create an encrypted file using SOPs with PGP encryption. First, install GPG in order to use PGP. You have to install PGP first. On Mac OS via brew install GPG, then generate a new PGP key with an empty paraphrase. Okay, so I think my lab is probably up now. So yep, there we go. See if we can follow along with that at least. I'm kind of off the rails with the previous stuff. If I go back and do that Docker command before, I doubt it will work, but we'll try it. I can't remember how far I had gotten with some of the prior instructions. So if I don't even have this image, of course it's not going to boot up. But let's give that command a try. So we need a terminal here. Here we go. Oh, I don't even have it customized. Okay, so yeah, because I don't have that customization there, I doubt I have these files. Nope, I don't have them at all. Let's do a search for them. So we're going to do a find. We're going to find from here dash, and then let's do a help, and we'll do do not upgrade. Oh, and then we'll click OK. All right. So I'm looking for, usually I do dash name, but I think there's another flag. I think I can do iname, and then that's case insensitive, I think. I'm not sure. Okay, it keeps asking me to do stuff that I don't want to do, so I will click out of that. And I'm going to use iname, and then we'll do flask by example. Okay, so yeah, that's not on there. I wonder if I even have the Docker command. Nope, I don't even have Docker. Okay, so let's try. Let's just move on and let's try getting that GPG program installed so that we can set up PGP encryption. And then I'll move the bookmark as well. I'll move it to here. Okay, so we've got a, now on a Mac, you can do brew install. On a Linux operating system, it's just as easy. You just do apt install, depending on the version you're on. If you're on SUSE, it's going to be Zipper. If you're on Red Hat, it's going to be Yum. We're on Ubuntu, which is based off of, it's an offshoot of Debian. So for any offshoot of Debian, you would use apt. And the deeper you go into Linux, the more that matters. If you're like me, where um, you're trying to develop a functional, working, practical knowledge of Linux, um, that's not the most important thing to know, although it can be, because if you're choosing, if part of what you're doing is trying to choose which distribution you want to run, knowing those sorts of things are important. But for anyone really deep into Linux, there are uh, reasons to consider certain distributions over others. But in my case, I typically just go with Ubuntu because it's kind of the flavor of the day right now. All right, so let's do an apt install GPG. Oh, so I'm going to need to do sudo. Okay, and I need my password. There we go. Perfect. Excellent. Okay, so the next step is going to be to generate the key. Oh, so it needs a name. So we're just going to use a empty passphrase. Yeah, we're just going to do everything empty. Oh, that's not. We gotta. Let's try it again. Ah, that's not gonna work. Oh, okay. Yeah, here we go. We had to fill in that sort of like metadata in order to provide it with a password. So that previous set of information was not the actual password that we were meant to leave blank. This appears to be that. So let's just click OK and leave it blank. So you have not entered a passphrase. This is in general a bad idea. Please confirm that you do not want to have any protection on your key. Yes, protection is not needed when in a lab. If you were in production, you would never choose that option. Okay, it looked like I needed to set up an additional key. Not sure what that was for, but I think we're still going here. So looks like there's more things happening. So they're generating random bytes. It's a good idea to perform some other action. Move the mouse, utilize the disk during the prime generation. This gives the random number generator a better chance to gain enough entropy. We need to generate a lot of random bytes. It is a good idea to perform some other action. Type on the keyboard, move the mouse, utilize the disks during. Okay, so I guess I'll do that. I'm kind of tempted to take a quick break, but I guess they're recommending against that. Um, and I'm very nearly out of time. I've probably got like 5 more minutes. Okay, so let's just kind of ignore that and keep moving. It's a VM, so if anything goes too badly, we'll just delete it and create a new one. Next, download SOPs from its release page. To create a new encrypted file called, for example, environment.secrets, run SOPs with the PGP flag and give it the fingerprint of the key generated above. So we're going to need to get SOPs before we do that. Um, let's try doing okay, now we're back. So let's do a apt install SOPs. Maybe that'll work. Oh, and we're going to need a sudo. Oh, oh, I think I needed to select option number 2 instead of 1 there. All right, so let's take a look at SOPs in the browser. Um, hmm. Okay, so maybe there's a README. Mozilla SOPs. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there is a README here. So we're gonna need to download it. So this is the development. We want the stable, so we're gonna do it here. And I don't know. Yeah, it looks like there's not clear. So here's the releases. So let's go with the latest release, 371. Okay, and then let's try to download. Okay, so I think this is it right here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we got to do that in the virtual environment. Oh, and I'm very quickly running out of time here. I think I'm going to end the video by downloading this. Now I wonder if I can just get it from the Ubuntu Software Center. I don't see. Okay, here's the magnifying glass to search. So we'll search for SOPs. I think that'll be the easiest way. But let's see how this is going. Now we've got a few packages here. We've got .linux, we've got .deb, and we've got .rpm. So I'm not sure which one to use. And I don't see an easier way of installing SOPs just through the built-in. Oh, that's kind of cool. This is cool. Oh, I got sniped by this. Oh, that's really cool. Wow, that's really cool. Okay, well, so I think that that's all the time I have. Um, so unfortunately, I couldn't download SOP. So the next would be to create a new encrypted file called, for example, environment.secrets, run SOPs with the -pgp flag and give it the fingerprint of the key generated above. SOPs --pgp environment.secrets. So this is the key. Now I actually was able to do this part, so I do have a key. Let's take a look at. Yep. So here's my key here. This will open the default editor and allow for the input of the plain text secrets. In this example, the contents of the environment.secrets file are export dbpass equals mypass. After saving the environment.secrets file, inspect the file to see that it is encrypted, which makes it safe to add to source control. So let's see that it's encrypted in here. Um, I guess, yeah, yeah. So then if you want to decrypt the file, run sops-d environment.secrets, export, and then here you get this result. Note there is an issue with SOPs interacting with GPG on a Macintosh. You will need to run the following commands before being able to decrypt the file with SOPs. Okay, so let's move the bookmark up. Yeah, and unfortunately, that's all the time I have for this morning, rare, short, early morning video. Special thanks again to the subscriber who suggested who wanted me to continue with this series. I definitely agree. This is definitely kind of cutting edge present knowledge, just Python for DevOps book. So lots of value in continuing this for sure. Unfortunately, not being able to get everything run and work. It's just the name of the game sometimes. I would like to kind of ignore the book at some time, maybe at the end of this chapter or something, and just go through that Flash tutorial that they recommended. I have done a Flash tutorial before. That was just absolutely a great tutorial to go through. So this one that they're recommending, even if it's the same one I did before, I think will have a lot of value to it. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.